The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Post-game pod. Kayla's alongside. Celtics beat the Knicks 119-117 in OT. You were downright giddy about an overtime game.
Look, you're absolutely right. And that says a lot, y'all, because, you know, it's late. Like, what time is it? Tonight?
Rookie, I love you. But so it's funny because you're vibing. You're like, what a great game. Like, I can't believe they pulled this out in overtime. And I don't want to be the grump, but I'm like, man, can we get this regular season over with?
He was done. Chris was like, oh, really? That's how you feel? Like, I'm like, oh, okay. And you're right. This rookie year, I'm gonna get like it was a Kayla. Act like you've been here before. I haven't, y'all. I have not been here before. I have not, covered this team for the whole start to finish.
And in your defense, there hasn't been a lot. I'm trying to think of nail-biting good win games.
It's because it was the Knicks. If it's Knicks, OKC, Cavs,
Fair.
any of those top teams in the East and the West, I can be like, okay, you know what, this one was legit. I was
with you
excited
in terms
about
of
this one.
This was the Knicks Super Bowl. They needed this one badly.
And
Celtics had beaten them, had devoured them 3 times, and the Knicks desperately needed one game so that if these two teams were lucky enough, or I should say, if the Knicks are lucky enough to see the Celtics in the postseason, they needed one game to at least be like, well, maybe we found a little something.
Now they have no confidence. They should not have confidence.
They're left thinking, even when Karl Anthony Towns goes for huge numbers, only because Al Horford wasn't on the court.
True.
Now, what do we do? Like, what is the solution against the Celtics team when KP is hitting 54-foot pull-up jumpers from the logo?
Dude, shot it from the logo.
It's like ridiculous.
It fly, KP.
And we got Tatum hitting step-back threes over OG Anunoby to get the game to overtime.
And Jaylen Brown didn't even play in the fourth quarter
right.
or overtime.
And look, that's going to be we'll save the negative for the final back half of the intro here. But I think for the Celtics to go in there, find a way. Even going into this game, I said, I wonder how they'll approach it. Do they want to give the Knicks even a sliver of confidence? And once you saw everybody available except Al, I was like, ooh,
okay.
That is interesting.
This
that
is
to
personal.
me was a team that wanted to send a message, and it wasn't in the emphatic message the way it was the first 3 games. But man, if I'm a Knicks fan and I know that that's the Celtics team I have to go to, that I got to find a way to win 4 out of 7 against that Celtics team, I am not thrilled.
The cool thing is, too, you see these guys, I mean, at least I see them on Twitter and whatever, like Brunson, Josh Hart, the Villanova crew, Mikal Bridges, like they'll tweet and go on podcasts and stuff with Jason Tatum, and those guys will, they laugh and joke, and I would consider them like friendly, but when it comes to the basketball court, they almost go to it reminds me of like pickup, like, oh, okay, we're some of the youngsters, like, let's go at it. And you mentioned it, Chris. The Celtics went into this, and we didn't really know where they're at. Like, okay, they don't really need this. It's win or lose, they're fine. But it got personal. It started to get personal.
100%. I told you that jump ball, I think it was in overtime.
Oh, it was great.
Where Derrick White and Josh Hart had to jump it up. I said, ooh, it's getting a little frisky out there. OG and Tatum were jockeying for like the center spot. Mm-hmm. Knicks ended up winning that jump ball, didn't come back to hurt the Celtics. Just everything, like Luke defending the inbound line and them telling to back him up a little bit. And it was cool to see the Celtics after using what I thought using the first half a lot to experiment a little bit, to go with different looks, to see what they could get away with against this Knicks team, to kind of flip it the switch a little bit in that second half and figure out like, okay, we're winning this game. Yep. And it wasn't always crisp. Derrick White starts the fourth quarter great, then kind of goes cold, has some bad turnovers. Like as you said, no Jaylen in that fourth quarter. And yet you kind of found a way to hang in there, even when Brunson's making a bunch of shots and Cat's doing his thing. You get to overtime, and from there, there was no doubt in my mind the Celtics were fine.
It was cool too because even Luke, who finished with 2 points, like he wasn't big on the score table.
No woofing tonight.
No woofing tonight.
He was good.
Ashley Battle pointed out something that I thought was so cool in the moment when we were watching it TV in the studio, and Luke gets that offensive rebound. He is like fighting for position in late minutes, getting that offensive rebound to give them an extra possession. And she goes, 2 years ago, her and Eddie were going back and forth, cracking up and agreeing with each other. They're like, 2 years ago,
Doesn't get that.
he doesn't do that.
No.
He doesn't get that. Exactly.
Or he gets his hands on it, but he can't bring it in. Like, he's just so good now at identifying where he needs to be, the angle it's going to come off at. His high school geometry is working out there. My other big takeaway would be that the Celtics are now in position to chase a little bit of history. They've already guaranteed themselves the best road record in franchise history, which on its own is, remarkable. When you're talking about they are now the 72-73 team went 32-8. They didn't play 41. They played 40. The Celtics will have a better winning percentage than that. Even the 2007-08 team, which was dominant, had 10 road losses. So regardless of what happens tomorrow night in Orlando, the Celtics will finish with a single digit in losses for only the second time in franchise history. And it's kind of remarkable that this team has emerged as potentially now chasing a chance to match the Golden State Warriors, who finished the 2015-16 season at 34-7.
Yeah, 34-7.
That was the year they went 73-9. They did lose in the finals to the Cavs. But we're talking about a historically good team.
A historically good team, and I knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. But imagine they repeat. The Celtics handle business and repeat. And then they can also say, oh, we had the best, they're tied at least, the best road record in NBA history. Like the amount of records that they have set. Unreal. It's unbelievable.
We go back to it. They're the 3-point kings, right? And what happens tonight? JT hits the 3-pointer to get it to overtime. KP hits the 3-pointer to essentially win the game. And, leading into what you do well. And we never, again, I always say, you never realize it in the moment. Okay, best road record in the NBA this season. What does that mean? Like, whatever, right? But no, when we look back at the historical context, and as you said, if they're lucky enough to repeat as champions, because no one looks at that Warriors team and says, man, 73-9, best road team, because they didn't win it. But when you win it and you set marks, it changes the dynamic. And we'll look at this team differently. We'll be like, oh, yeah, they went into every environment and just kicked the ass of whoever was on the other side. Sure. They had no fear going into whatever building. They thrive playing in MSG. They thrive playing in bigger places. And
Kristaps Porzingis had blood dripping down his nose. Like all of those memories will spark up.
Yeah, and so it's just cool. Like I know that it feels like every game they're doing a record. The 40-40 game.
Yeah, no kidding.
Some of the individual stuff. Peyton having the most bench 3-pointers.
Derrick White season high.
Yes,
season threes.
And yet. It when we take a step back, and it'll take a while to appreciate it all, this team has been pretty crazy. And again, if Oklahoma City wasn't so great this year, if Cleveland wasn't ahead of you in the standings, maybe in the moment we'd appreciate it more. But maybe because there's also bigger goals to chase and that they have to go get a title. But it is remarkable how good they've been on the road.
I will say I'm relieved that there's only 3 games left, starting with whoever's watching
now
this.
You're coming
later
over to the
today.
dark side.
Right. I'm so relieved because I know all you guys are too, right? You want to get into the postseason.
No, they want.
Okay.
They signed up
you
for
guys still want
They
all
signed
82?
up for 82 post-game pods. They better be click and play on every damn one.
Actually, the money that you guys pay for, I totally get it.
I've been potting since Abu Dhabi. You guys, for all of you that have
those are the true potters. I just jumped on the bandwagon. Who am I? But even though I meant money, meaning the ones who are going to these games,
for
like
sure.
82 regulars. I get it. And Eddie mentioned this to me. You may hear this in a sec. It's a luxury to watch Jason Tatum play the way that he's been playing. And then you see Kristaps Porzingis go off for tying a season high with 34 points. It's fun. There's a reason why they packed the house at MSG. I know it's because it is MSG, but it's also because it's the Boston Celtics. It's the defending champs. You had Robert Kraft there tonight.
Oh, really?
At one point, I think during the challenge call, he was talking to Joe Mazzulla.
Oh, really? I love that conversation.
This wasn't on the broadcast, but we did hear it through kind of the backdrop.
Yeah.
And someone goes, why is Kraft talking to Joe Mazzulla mid-challenge? I'm like, you know what? Kraft's bought in too right now.
Right.
So to see how Boston rallies for this team and then, it gets into the postseason. Can I ask you something real quick? Is it too good to be true? Are you sipping that juice, or do you think
no? In fact, it's weird. I was having this conversation with someone the other day. I said I've never last year, even at the height of how good they were, I never allowed myself to get too far ahead because you always say, they've gotten tripped up on something, and you can't promise it like injury luck, and until they got to the finish line, and as easy as they made it look. it was just, you kind of blinked and it was like, oh my God, they won. This year,
It's like a
I almost
shock.
feel a little guilty because I'm just a little bit presumptuous in terms of they should win it all. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. There's going to be challenges along the way. But when I look at this team and I watch this team, I'm thinking they are by far the best team in basketball. Oklahoma City's right there, but I don't know if Oklahoma City's going to be ready for the big stage. And we'll see. Only one way to find that out. Both teams get there. But like in the Eastern Conference, I feel really good about this team. And that's why, I don't want to dismiss the fact that this was a really good win.
Yeah.
It was gritty. But even you could hear it from Joe Mazzulla in the postgame. He was just sort of like, it kind of felt like another night.
Which
And
I love. Can we
Right.
can we just highlight that for a second? Joe Mazzulla, and I've listened to it's called the Huberman podcast, but there's this guy that he interviewed who apparently was Joe Mazzulla's one of the mental trainers that Joe specifically worked with. And he talks about, and I won't go too much on this rant, but he talks about the process. And Chris, you know how he has a subtitle for
Right,
each
for every section of the season.
section of the season. But you see, if you go back and look at the losses and look at the wins and look at the losses again, Joe Mazzulla honestly seems the same. And he talks about, he jokes about, getting, coach of the month. And he's like, what's
Nobody
coach
cares.
of the month? He does not care. He just cares about the process. And that's why he is so level-headed and just trying to get to the end. The other thing I will say, too, is this is the exact same team that just got the taste of what it was like to win the title. So I feel like that's such an advantage for all these other teams like the
100%.
Cavs who are trying to chase down a
Yeah.
title. And
Until you've been there.
yeah, like they can look each other in the eyes and be like, no, we know not to get up right here. We know not to get too excited. We know not to get too antsy. Let's be level-headed. Let's get to the next round, get to the next. They're coming fresh off of a win already.
It's why teams like Denver scared me because I kept saying, man, they've been there. They've been on the biggest stage. They have an MVP player. They could.
But then their coach gets
and then they fired their coach and their GM.
Do they scare you anymore?
With 4 games to go in the season. And I think, okay, probably don't have to worry about them
We're
right
good.
now. They don't seem to be worried about themselves. Let's end the first part of the pod on the somewhat sour note. Jaylen Brown seemed to be on a minute restriction tonight, or just once they realized he just didn't have it, got into early foul trouble, kind of was scuffling along. Whether the decision was made just to kind of bottle him up a little bit. What's your concern level about how he looked? And it's so hard because I can sit here and say, I think they should put him on bubble wrap and let him rest the rest of the way. And yet he might be sitting there thinking, I need to play. I need to grind through this. I need to figure out what I can do, what my limitations are. And I don't know what that balance is.
If it's 1 through 10, my concern level is riding the 6-7 line.
Okay.
Because you can see it in his face. You can see he clearly didn't play in the fourth, clearly didn't play in overtime. And not that he needed to. I know it was exciting, and he probably wanted, and you had to imagine he wants to be out there and being a part of the, no, I'm going to sweep the Knicks right there with you guys. But he also knows what's at stake. He knows that they need a healthy Jaylen Brown going into the postseason, that they need him to get a grip of where he is at with his body. And I think he's doing, you would imagine, they have great trainers there.
Yeah.
Look at how Kristaps
I trust
is
every
training.
one of the
I do too.
Australians.
I do too. I
Right?
do too. I'm a little concerned. I'm not going to lie. I just hope. I don't want him playing.
Right.
I don't want him playing the rest of the regular season. I really just would rather, if he's feeling 60% bad or 70, anything above 50 bad, sit out the rest of the 3 games. I know the All-NBA, he would have to finish the last 3.
And that's the big question, is that he's come out and said it's not a deal to him. And yet, invariably, I think, fair or not, it's on your mind. If you know that all you have to do is go play 20 minutes for the 2 more games, invariably you're going to think about it.
Because you know what it is too, Chris? When you hang up the cleats, hang up the sneaks, and call it quits, you look back on your career and say, I was an All-NBA 10 times, 12. You were able to say those. Right, so it makes sense why he wants to do it.
And look, the first thing we say is, how many times were you champion? Right? Bill Russell with too many rings for his fingers and stuff like that. So that has to be, I think there has to be a balance there. Jaylen has to think to himself, would I rather rest this thing and be as fresh as possible for the postseason and say I was a 2-time, hopefully more, NBA champion, or do I want to look back and say, well, I did get an All-NBA because there was an open spot and I did enough? And look, I think he's got even his case. Yes, he's been good, but not quite to the level that he was. And some of that is just team dynamics, and some of that is just he hasn't been as efficient as he was in previous seasons. So I just hope he finds that balance. And
That's
again,
what it is.
It's just I want him to play if he feels like it's going to help him, and I just wish there was a way. And again, this is the problem with sports. We can ask people, and who knows if they're telling us the truth. People can be like, yeah, he's fine. He can't make it worse. He should just be out there. Or they could be masking the fact that, like, look, he's going through it and he just wants to be out there. And so I just hope he seems he's so smart that I want to give him and all the Australian trainers and everybody on this team the benefit of the doubt that they're putting him in the best position to be successful. But certainly it felt like tonight the best position was, hey, take it down, enjoy the view, celebrate your teammates.
And that says something too, because it got really physical down the stretch. And I'm glad that was the call, because God forbid, it gets physical down there. Like it got physical. You mentioned it on that jump ball. Like Jalen's in there too. Oh, he's totally going to bat and going to war against these guys. So I thought that was a smart call for him not to play in the fourth, not to play in overtime, because God forbid, he gets banged up or whatever the case. But I do think too, maybe he's not even so much so focused on all NBA. Maybe he's focused on, hey, my body can't just shut down with 4 regular season games left, or 3 now. And I need to at least keep it going, keep it moving to get me into the postseason. Maybe that's how they're analyzing 100%. It. We don't know. I just hope however they're doing it is
the right
benefiting
way.
him.
My spin control would be, imagine if Jaylen Brown, if he's at whatever 75% of himself now, if he is able to get to 85, 90%, hopefully 100% of what he can be, of the guy who won multiple MVP trophies during that run last year, then it's bad news for the opposing teams. All right, here's more from our postgame show, and then we'll be back to talk about Orlando.
Did you know coming in it was going to be that good of a night from 3?
Not at all. If anything, this morning and then shooting pregame, my shot was like way off. But that's how it works out a lot of times. And once I saw the ball kept going in, I just let it fly without any, without thinking, and it was a good night.
Can you take us through what ended up being the game winner?
Say again?
In overtime, that long 3.
Yeah.
On the assist.
Yeah. I mean, they were not trying to switch kind of throughout the game, but they were doing like late switch, and I just created a little bit of separation from Brunson, and it was a pretty deep one, and just let it fly without conscious, and we were just making plays for each other down the stretch. JT, had some big plays to keep that lead that we built, and then they made a little run, and I'm happy the way we responded and came out with a win.
Yeah. When you took from the logo, I think you were on the K in the logo, there was 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Did you think about stepping in a little bit, or were you just like, you know what?
I don't know. Just the ball rolled to me. I said, "This is destiny." Let's just pick it up and just let it fly. Honestly, without thinking too much. And those are the best kind of nights. You just playing free and letting it fly, and shots are going in.
You take your average 3-point shot distance is like among the longest in the league. Why do you shoot from so far behind you?
I don't know, but there's like a correlation between me shooting, because I tried to see if my efficiency goes up the closer I am to the 3-point line, but it really doesn't. And I don't know why. I'm just comfortable shooting a little bit out, and it also helps our offense, just stretching the defense out even more. And so it's kind of if my efficiency doesn't change, then I just take those deeper ones, and I don't know, it's maybe a little bit more comfort just knowing it's even the guy's not going to be able to get there at all for a decent contest, and just taking my time and just letting it fly.
When did you take a look at the stats of that?
Maybe after Washington, before Boston. Yeah, I was kind of. With my friend Giannis, who works me out in the summers, we were looking at it, and he was he wanted me to shoot closer, and I did that throughout the summer. But then as the season started again, I kind of reverted back to my old habits and just started shooting further out. And I did shoot a little bit closer, but then we checked the efficiency was the same, so he was just, we just agreed that I'll just do me and shoot them wherever I feel comfortable.
Kristaps, how many stitches in the nose?
4 stitches.
And what was that like? I mean, you loved it. You walked off the floor bloody, and everybody went nuts, and you played to that. But just kind of finishing the season strong, doing this here, a place that you've received your share of boos. I mean, just kind of the last week has seemed like pretty enjoyable for you.
No, definitely. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, you already know how much I love playing in front of our crowd, and then having those interactions with the crowd. And that was just a perfect moment. All my teammates already know I'm a big UFC fan, and me getting hit was kind of just fit that moment, and me just walking off and feeding into the crowd was a fun moment. And obviously playing here, it's always very fun. Here the fans are super into the game, and they love the Knicks, and I enjoyed playing here as home player, and now also on the road. So it's been fun, and especially now finishing the season strong, regular season, and then preparing ourselves for what's coming.
The award-winning 24 Auto Group is the easy choice for your next car, truck, or SUV. 11 locations and over 2,000 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock.
Shop the brands you know and love, backed by savings and service you can count on. Plus, buy 3 and get 1 free for all tire purchases, with 11 convenient locations across the South Shore of Massachusetts.
24 has the knack to save you more. Visit us in store or online at 24autogroup.com.
Derrick White talking with Abby Shin back in Madison Square Garden.
Derrick, what a game. Congratulations. Can you take me through the assist to KP for that go-ahead 3?
Obviously, he's a special player, and he made a big-time shot. And so I didn't really do much but pass it to him, and he was big for us all night. Special player.
And then Jason Tatum to tie the game with 2.9 seconds left, no timeouts. How much faith do you guys have in him in those situations?
We trust him in every situation. Know he's going to get a good look and tough shot, but we trust him in those situations. We trust him to make the right play, and he comes through for us.
Derrick, the reality is not that much to play for at this point in the season, but you guys had your top 5 available, all playing to win. Send this game to overtime for the first time since late January. How important are those moments as you guys head into the postseason?
Everything you kind of take and can grow from, and I feel like we haven't had a close game like that. And so it's good to learn from it and see what we did well, see what we need to work on, and it's always fun to win.
This win also sets a new franchise record for best road record in a season for the Celtics. What does that say about this group?
It's crazy. Obviously, unbelievable teams in Celtic history, and to do something that's never done before is pretty special, and it gives a great group of guys that compete every night, and it's been a lot of fun.
You seem a little subdued. Aren't you excited?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's always good to win.
Derrick, thank you. Congrats.
All right, Kayla, 3 to go.
Oh my God, can you believe we're saying that?
I know. It's funny.
I haven't been here before. 3 to go.
I know. 3 to go.
How did you feel when in your first season, 3 to go?
Man, so first off, that was like a long
time. I know.
My first real season. Oh, you know what's funny? My first real season was 2009-10. When I was I was around the 08 team a little bit, but not. I wouldn't go so far as to say.
So you were anxious because you were coming out for the 08.
Well, so you watch them win in 08. And I was more of a fan than a reporter at that point. But I was lucky enough to be kind of there for the finish line and get to experience that. Then we go 08, 09, and the team is probably even more talented, but injuries happen. KG gets derailed. Mm-hmm. And then 09, 10, I'm kind of lucky enough to start covering this team. And, I'm thinking, I don't know. And part of you just assumes they're gonna be super successful and they're gonna get to the NBA Finals every year. And part of you is just like, I don't know, like my head's spinning as it is. Yeah. I remember going up to opening night in Cleveland, ironically, Shaq and LeBron, and I'm thinking, man, like this is gonna be fun. This is the Eastern Conference. It's wild. And then the Celtics do. They go to the finals against the Lakers. And it was like, wow, this is pretty crazy. Not the ending we wanted, but crazy nevertheless. 3 games left in that season, I probably was like, oh, my God. I'm never going to see my child. My daughter had just been born, and I remember thinking, I'm never going to.
God bless you. I don't have kids yet.
I haven't been home. But yeah, like there's for me, there's a little bit, and there wasn't this play-in, so there wasn't a week to wait either.
Right.
I'm anxious. I'm anxious to get the games going. I think to bring this conversation full circle, I get your excitement because like that had a playoff vibe in the final minutes.
That's what it was for me.
100%.
It felt like a
and
playoff vibe.
Every game is going to feel like that, regardless of how close it is, because they all matter so much more. And it's like an NFL game where 1 out of 16 because you need it. Like you can't lose games. It's like it just everything is magnified. And I guess I'm just at the point now where I'm like,
so
go!
Chris, you're based. This is what's going through my brain. You are Jason Tatum, and I'm kind of Baylor. I'm an excited little puppy over here, and I wouldn't call Baylor Shireman a puppy because he's playing like a dog.
They are dogs.
Right. Woof. What are you advising to a Baylor like me?
So Baylor, I would say,
going into this postseason.
Get on your cleats because tomorrow is a big day for you guys. And I do think that if you enjoy watching Baylor Shireman, if you enjoy watching the rookie crew, be ready because I think a lot of those main Celtics dudes are going to be out there against Orlando on the second night of a back-to-back. Weird game. Both teams are coming off a front end of a back-to-back. Celtics got to travel, which is like a fairly long journey for. I wonder if they'll even put a couple of these guys on the plane. Like, do you big Jason? Maybe some of the guys want to go to Orlando given the weather in Boston right now, but it's such a quick turnaround. I wonder if some guys will just be redirected home to rest and recover. Like Jalen, I would much prefer you just send him home.
Please.
Get him some rest. But if you can get Sam, Luke, Peyton, Baylor, Nemi, all these guys and just turn them loose tomorrow night, then we'll see. And so, rookie, go have your fun.
Okay.
You should just tell Tom Giles to take tomorrow off. And
I'm still,
you got the whole night.
Giles, go home. You can relax.
We need 48 minutes of Kayla.
Shoot, I don't know about that. That's a lot for you guys. I don't know if I can carry the whole team like that.
And then straight into this podcast.
Yeah. But, we're still trying to chase a record tomorrow.
Right?
So
there's always
something to be said.
As Joe Mazzulla with breaking out every section of the season, there's always something to play for.
And that's very possible against a team that's 7th in the East right now. So
I was going to say, give me one player you really want to see thrive. Is it Baylor? Because I kind of want to see
I'm
Baylor
on the Baylor train right now.
I know.
I do want to see Jordan Walsh thrive.
Ooh,
I do want to see Jordan Walsh.
okay.
I feel like he was thriving and we got really excited for him at the start of the season, rightfully so. He got those early minutes. He made early appearances and did well with some of those minutes. So, I'd like to see a little Walsh game, but
I like where your head's at.
Baylor.
No, I'm like it's good. Just sound the sirens. It's fireman time.
And then Peyton. I'm right there with you with Peyton. Get him some juice going into the
Exactly.
postseason.
I always want to see, and everybody has had their sort of moment. Like even the other night, Peyton had 20, but just like one last.
I need him to have a little. I think he needs one more punch for himself going into the postseason because you're going to see him be the spark off that bench and against the Cavs, against the Knicks, whoever it is, Hawks or Orlando in the first round, we don't know, but just to have that juice and that punch.
I like it, and then you should brace yourself for like Drew Peterson and Miles Morris and all that for the Charlotte games because I don't know if a lot of guys are going to play in those games.
It's true.
But yet we'll
see the G League MVP.
We will come up with a reason for you guys to watch us here on NBC Sports Boston. But until then, I need you to go subscribe, go check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you tomorrow night on the Celtics Talk podcast.